week, I think we missed one final line of that article. We stop here at most. If the politician cannot agree that the most likely outcome is a minority government and another general election, okay? So that's at the end, but hey, by the way, how many of you follow British election? What happened? Last week when we talked about this one, and then the very next day, what happened? The Lib Dem. What is a Lib Dem? Liberal Democrats. Where's my stuff? Okay, I'm sorry. It's in another room. Go back. Pick it up. Excuse me. Okay, Wang Siqi. Okay, do you remember? Have you followed this at all? What happened in Great Britain right now? No, I mean, don't look at the article. Have you followed the news at all? Okay. They're going to have a coalition government. They are going to, or they have one. So they're still discussing. Already formed one. Who is the prime minister now? If they are going to, which means Gordon Brown, the Labour Party prime minister, is still the prime minister, right? If the Conservative and the Liberal Democrats are trying to form a coalition, then the prime minister is still Gordon Brown. Is this the case? I thought they look okay to at least get your attention. You're not going to be interested in someone who is not as handsome as, right? So at least this one is good. This one, they look different. Have you seen other pictures? They look like twins. Should we find a picture that they look like twins? Maybe we can find. But here, Ms. Wang, they already agreed. So the new government already formed. Okay. Here, Cameron of the Conservative Party and Clegg are going to have a new government. Clegg is the deputy prime minister. So we have a new government in Great Britain already. Okay. Zhang Lixing. Now, do they have majority in the parliament? Do they have? The Conservative Party is the biggest party. The Labour Party is the second biggest. Liberal Democrats number 3. So number 1 and number 3 form a coalition. Do they have majority seats? Do they have 326? No. You don't remember? We went through that last week. Now, if they don't have a majority, why are they forming a government? Because if they don't have a majority, there is a no confidence vote and they're gone. Do they have a majority? Okay. Yes, they do. Okay. They have about 30 some, over majority. Okay. Conservative at 306, and then the Liberal Democrats about 57. So they have a comfortable majority. That's the only two party. Okay. In addition, also, of course, you can have a coalition government between which two will have majority. Not the Labour and Liberal Democrats. Because if it's the Labour and Liberal Democrat, what was the term I gave you last week? if they can have bare majority, minimum wage. No, not minimum wage. 不是最低工资。Minimum winning coalition. If you can have that, I think Labor and Liberal will form the government. But Labor and Liberal together don't have 10 seats, 11 seats short. So they don't have majority. So number 1 and number 3 form the government. Okay? So 2 parties, majority seats, and then one is the Prime Minister, one is Deputy Prime Minister. Now, what do they have to compromise? You know they are not the same party. So if you invite me to join your government, I have my, we call platform. 我有我的讲台，是不是 platform? What is platform? Ms. Zhang? What is a platform? Platform is not communication. What is platform? Platform. Yeah, political platform. What is it? It is about policy. 政纲. Okay. So political platform means they have their policy. This is what we're going to do. So obviously, liberal Democrats and conservative have different things. So if you invite me to join you, then I said something I want to change, I want to do. And so what is the thing that the liberal Democrats want the most? Do you know? From last week? Okay, I'll give you a hint. Okay, the hint is they got 23% of the votes. They got 9% of the seats. They have 23% of the votes, but they only have 9% of the seats. 正方. Do you know what we're talking about now? Ooh, shall I go to this one? British election. Do you know this? Can you see? Great Britain has single-member district, and Liberal Democrats won what? They have 23% of the votes, but they have 9% of the seats. They won proportional representation. Okay? It's like Liberal Democrats is doing well. It's always our second best, second choice. Okay? It's conservative second choice. It's the Liberals, Labor's second choice, but that's not good. So they want to have proportional representation. And conservatives say, oh, okay, we're going to give you opportunity to do that. So they're going to have a referendum. So Ms. Zheng, what is referendum? Referendum, I think we go through this a lot of times already. Referendum. What is a referendum? It's like, do we want to decide whether Taiwan should have ECFA with China? Gongtou. Okay, so this issue, the Conservative Party said, okay, we promise that we're going to ask people to vote to see whether we want a proportional representation. But you have to remember one thing. In Great Britain, people are so used to two-party system. And the two-party system is the result of the single-member district electoral system. 选举制度. If you have single-member district, what do? You vote for the winner, and if you vote for the other candidate, other party, you might waste your vote. Okay? So you're choosing the lesser of the two evils. Okay? Because you prefer, let's say you prefer liberal Democrats, right? But you know the liberal Democrats might not have enough votes. So if you vote for the liberal Democrats, you're wasting your vote. So which one do you like less? Conservative or Labor? If you like conservative more, then you vote for conservative. Or if you dislike conservative more, then you vote for Labor, right? Because your number one choice is a liberal Democrat. You don't like the other two, but which one do you dislike more? Then you vote for the other one. Okay, that's why you have a two-party system in Great Britain. Now, if you have proportional representation, then you're encouraging maybe we call breaking up or splitter. Splitter. 劈腿不是splitter. Splitting means 分裂出去，这中文叫什么？党是不是叫分裂？不是，也不是脱党，就是大党有人带一群人另立山户，另起炉灶。Okay, something split. Okay, so because if they have, let's say, 5% of the support, they will get represented. So that's why. Okay, that's number one compromise. The second compromise, the conservatives is saying, oh, we might want to have direct election of the members of the House of Lords. Do you remember this organization called House of Lords? Yeah, House of Lords used to be, appointed, right, serving for life. 蔡伟玲. Am I correct? Okay. House of Lords. What is it? Great Britain has two houses in the parliament. You understand parliament? Okay, they have two houses. One is called House of Commons. And then the other one is House of Lords. So what is it? Sometimes we translate it as 上下, 上议院, 下议院, but really, what is it? In Chinese, what is it? House of Lords. Sang主, Lord. 上帝, 不是. What is it, the other house? House of Commons is what? Common people. 众议院. That's Americans' term. 众议院, 参议院. In Great Britain, what do we call them? House of Lords and House of Commons. House of Lords, 贵族院. House of Commons, 平民院. Okay, so always remember this. Okay, Lords and Commons. But Great Britain still have lords, right? Elton John is a lord. Elton John has been, I think, knighted. Who else have been knighted? The Beatles. Okay. James Bond. Okay. I love some of the football coach. The soccer coach have been knighted. Great Britain, you can be a aristocrat if you lead Great Britain to the glorious day of World Soccer, World Cup. If they won World Cup, when was the last time Great Britain won the World Cup? 1966. I still remember that because I think at that time I was very much into soccer game. Okay, 1966. That's 44 years ago. Last time. So if they won this time, who knows? Beckham's is going to be assistant coach, right? This time he's not going to kick, but If maybe he will be a new lord. Who knows? Okay, so you understand proportional representation, and this is what they are giving the liberal Democrats. But the liberal Democrats and the conservative, liberal Democrat also has to compromise. What do they have to compromise? Of course, they are a smaller party. So they are serving as deputy instead of prime minister. That's understandable. One other thing they compromise is Great Britain is in trouble. Everybody knows Great Britain is in trouble. Like we have students who want to apply to Great Britain University now. It's a good time because the British pound is that's not worth a lot nowadays. Used to be 65. Now it's under 50, I think. 48. Wow. Okay. So looking not very good in terms of its economy. So when the economy is not good, what do you do? Like Greece. What do you do? Borrow money? Okay. What else do you do? I mean, they're saying, well, we owe a lot of people money. They always do one thing. They ask the third world country to do it. They ask Greece to do it. What is it? To cut. Cut what? Cut government budget. Okay, that's the reason the British bureaucrat, the Greek bureaucrat went protesting, saying, "Oh, we're going to have salary cut. We're not going to have vacation times and all that." So Great Britain, the same thing. Conservatives said, in order to rescue our finance, we have to cut budget. Liberal Democrats also want to cut budget, but not as deep as conservative. Conservatives do not care. Usually budget cut hurt the working class more. So here, Liberal Democrat has to compromise. Agreeing to budget cut more deeply than they would like to have. Okay, so that's one more. But both of them agree on education, though. And also conservative did not cut. The one thing that is most precious program for Great Britain, that you should never cut budget in that area. Which one? What was the pet baby of British welfare state? Great Britain is very proud of, not very proud, but at least they have it. What is it? NHS. National Hockey? No. What is it? National Health Service. 全民健保. Okay, so no cut on 全民健保. Well, right now, like you got sick, you have to wait, like operation for 3 months. So if you cut more budget, you have to wait 6 months for your operation. I think you die before you have an operation, right? I was lucky enough to have this accident in Great Britain, right? Hospitalized for 1 day. No, not even 1 day. I check in, I think at about noontime. I got off the next day before noon. So almost 1 day, right? Hey, hit by a car, lost consciousness, 6 stitches here, and then less than 1 day out. Okay, but at least I didn't pay any, because that's national health care. I don't know how much, if that accident took place in America, will cost me. Okay, so if you want to get accident, you want to hit by a car, go to Great Britain. Okay, don't get hit in the United States. Okay, in the United States we also have a lot of legal fee. Okay, so this is what they compromise. So now we have a new government already. And more importantly, we also have someone who is going to succeed Gordon Brown. Look, I never realized the British is so shallow, but they are so shallow now. Right? British is supposed to be have culture, have taste. So why suddenly they all want young people, young men, good-looking men to be prime minister, to be the party leader. He was elected the Conservative Party leader at the age of 39. Okay, now he's 43 here, and then the 4 people who are running for the leadership of Labour Party. Gordon Brown, you lost the election. Resigned, right? 4 of them, 2 are brothers. One is 43 years old, one is 44, and 2 others are 40. Okay, so someone asked the guy 48 and another guy 57, saying, you're going to no, that's the job for the young man. So suddenly Great Britain, all have their leaders in their 40. So prepare for leadership. Okay, so this is what I think, where did we go last time? I think we stopped here somewhere. Is this where we stop here, Mr. Cameron? Okay, I think we stopped here last week. Liu Youjun. Ray. Sorry, I have to do it. I don't recognize all the Chinese characters. Let me write R-U-I on the other side. Ray. Okay, I have to do it. No, R-U-I is, I think, is how Ray. Okay, Mr. Liu, come. Is this okay?
Mr. Cameron, when he made his own appearance soon after, did not offer that much, though he did promise a cross-party committee on electoral reform, which he tends to define broadly to include things like shaking up the horse of Lord.
No, house, not horse.
House
of Lord. Okay.
House of Lord.
Okay.
House of Lords, and giving voters the power to evict their local MP between elections. More profoundly, he floated the idea of governing in cooperation with the Liberals, either as a minority Tory administration with Mr. Clegg's backing on common causes such as schools reform, or even as a blue-yellow coalition, though the actual C word was used by his aides only afterwards, and even then carefully. Okay,
I think we mentioned this a little bit, but here, very important, Cameron agree on this, shaking up House of Lords. We already mentioned that. Also, floating the idea. What is my float?
Float. I don't know the meaning using here, but maybe they came up with this idea.
Yeah, but floating is like trial. It's like in Taiwan, suddenly people said, well, why don't we try to unify with the Philippines? Then we became a half Catholic countries. We can also have access to the Filipinos' resources. They have more resources than us. So just floating an idea, just throwing out something for people to consider. Okay, so floating the idea of governing in cooperation with the Liberal Democrats as minority Tory means Tory said we don't officially have coalition government, but hey, we have issues that we can cooperate, like school. Okay, already said school reform. Okay, blue-yellow coalition, but they don't want to use the word coalition. Okay, so we stopped here last week. Wang Dazhong. Yeah. Open courtship.
This open courtship of Mr. Clegg Mr. Cameron spoke to him not long after setting out his stall to media. Further conversations between the two are expected over the weekend. Regardless of how this fares, early noises from Mr. Clegg's camp are optimistic. It must heed his party, MPs, and executive.
And MPs and executive.
MPs and executive. Executive.
No, executive.
Before proceeding with any deal. And many liberal democrats activists learn to work
lean toward
labor. Their leader will surely talk also to Mr. Brown.
Okay, open courtship means it's not even like behind closed door. We always accuse politicians do something behind closed doors. Huh? Used to be this, but nowadays it's not. People would say behind closed door in a smoke-filled room. You know, everybody's like smoking cigarettes and then discussing. 我们中文叫什么？ Behind closed doors. 黑箱作业，密室政治 right? And then a few people just smoking and decide and put everything, in order. Okay? That's what we used to say. But here, it's open. Okay, first you have open courtship. Okay? Now move in behind closed doors. And then setting out his stall means, putting up his agenda to the media. And then further conversation and how, regardless of how this fare, what do we mean by fare? F-A-R-E is like a fee as a noun, but here as a verb, what does that mean? Fare. Like you go to a certain party or your mother arranged you for a date, coming home, your mother said, hey, how does it go? How do you fare? It means like, how do you perform? Did you do well? So how this, work out? People say noises from Clegg's camp saying optimistic. Okay, people felt that conservative and liberal look good, but still, you have to heed your party's MP. What is MP? Member of Parliament. Okay, and executive. Party also has an executive. Okay, before proceeding with any deal, and then many liberal Democrat activists lean towards labor. So, what do we say here? Ideologically, or maybe in terms of your sense, your passion, you probably are closer to labor, but in political reality, it's easier to work with conservative. Okay, so that's the case. Okay, so somehow they have to talk to Brown, but I don't think they don't have to talk to Brown. Already decided. Hu Ronghua. Yeah. Pivotal. Representation. Okay, so first of all, Ms. Hu here, pivotal, do you understand what is pivotal? Yeah, it's in the critical central position, right? Pivotal means if you move to the left, then the left might have the majority. If you're to the right have the majority. So it's almost like people are asking you to cast a deciding vote. Okay, I'll give you one example. In America, they have 9 Supreme Court justices. Okay, 9位. Okay, what is it? 9 is here. Okay, 9 Supreme Court justices. They have 4 liberal, 4 conservative, and then 1 in the middle. Okay, so if this one voted with the liberal, then the liberal have majority. If this one vote with the conservative have the majority. So this one position, one vote, but become more pivotal, and also I think it's overblown, because whatever this vote sided, which camp, that camp will have majority. So in America, there are a lot of we call 5-4 decisions. 5比4. And then you find out this guy sitting in the middle is on the 80% of the majority votes. So I'm always a winner. I mean, I'm pivotal here in the middle, right? If I vote with the one side, that side will be winning. If I vote with the other side will be winning. So very political position. So that's what we call pivotal. Okay? And what is confounding? As confounding as it is, confounding means make it very difficult to understand, complicated. So it is, position is complicated and also very critical here. Offered by labor, saying, you want voting system change into proportional representation. This is what your party craves. Okay, now, Ms. Hu, what do you mean by crave? Something you really want, craving for something, right? Like right now, in a hot day afternoon here in Tsinghua, listening to the boring Professor Yan, you say, I want to have ice cream. Okay, I'm craving for ice cream. Okay? So that's craving. So you want this one the most. Okay, so more than anything, the labor is willing to offer you, but at a cost. What is the cost? You are going with the unpopular, okay, that the voter already rejected labor. The voter rejected labor. But you said, well, I'm going to form a government, even though the voters didn't like labor, but we are close ideologically. What do we call buddy-buddy? And then also we have majority, but you don't have majority. So why do you want to form coalition with a loser? This is what I think. So here, but the other choice is what? Sketchy option. What do you mean by sketch? What is a sketch? Do you do sketch? 草稿. Okay, what else? Sketch 好像素描一样啊. Sketch. So sketchier means not very solid, not very clear. Option is what? Saying, you're going to maybe exercise real power. You have cabinet seats for you, and being offered by Cameroon, but then maybe you cannot have proportional representation. Wow, he is promised proportional representation, so it's actually pretty good. And his liberal take on issue of defense and immigration, that might be compromise. Okay, so because that's the one. Ms. Hu, what is electoral undoing? What is undoing? Undoing is something like Mr. Brown, Gordon Brown. What was the thing that really embarrassed him at the end of the campaign? Do you remember this one? Gordon Brown, he said that the lady was a bigot. You know, forgetting that the phone, the mic is still on. Okay? Have you done that? Have you just put on the telephone and then people say, oh, who called you? Oh, that stupid guy. The phone didn't hang. Oh, I was the stupid guy. Okay. That happened a lot. Okay. Gordon Brown did, and also one time Bush also did that. Okay. He called a reporter names. Okay. And forgot that the mic is still on. Okay. I think there's a lot of movie made on this kind of thing. So Gordon Brown, that's his undoing, means that finished you. Okay, so the one that caused liberal Democrats to not receive the votes they are supposed to get is because of his position on immigration and defense. So that one he should compromise. Okay, does not have mandate. What do you mean by mandate? Only men date, women do not date. Huh? Ms. Hu, mandate, 男人约会。哦，同性恋啊。Huh? What is mandate? Order? No, mandate is not an order. Mandate is what? When someone won an election, he said, the voter has spoken. I have the mandate. Okay, what does that mean? I have been authorized to do something. So, okay, what did Ma Ying-jeou mandate? What was his mandate when he won the election 2 years ago? The mandate is my wife will not shop at Sogo. Right? What is it? I mean, can you give me a mandate? What did the voter tell Ma Ying-jeou 2 years ago? If he get, 7 million votes? Okay, maybe. We don't know what is it. But at least he said this is what he is going to do. And if people voted for him, at least I think he has authorization to do something. Yeah, clean government, all that. So if he decided to put some corrupted officials behind bar, he would say, I have been authorized, I have the mandate to do so. But sometimes, after an election, people say, mixed mandate. Or people are confused because 50-50, we don't know what people really want. So you don't have what we call a clear mandate. It depends on whether during the campaign, if someone is very clear on, if you elect me, this is what I'm going to do. And you overwhelmingly elect me, and this is what I'm going to do because I told you who I am, I told you what I'm going to do, and you voted for me, I have a mandate to do it. Okay? But sometimes it's very mixed, so we don't know. So that's the mandate. I don't think liberals said they had to challenge Cameroon on those issues. Okay, next one. 简英哲.
Mr. Cameron's predicament not much left ago. So, many in his party regard his failure to win an outright majority in parliament as an of the campaign strategy, leadership style, and co-state
A.
public over the community. Any substantial transition
vague, flirtation.
Tutorial system. Fingering is already being heard in the party that gets them
Oh.
proportional representation, which they think could shut the party out of government
Indefinitely.
the notion of late dance taking ministerial positions in
Earmarked.
earmarked for conservatives is deeply provocative to his own side, which is why Mr. Cameron's preference will be for
Minority rule. Okay, so here, he is also in a predicament. What is a predicament? Caught in the middle, not kind of difficult position. Okay, predicament, and his party regard his failure to win outright majority because 20 seats short, right? Now, is it his responsibility? The conservative didn't have a majority seat because conservative party, right? Every district, 650, you have a conservative candidate. And he is supposed to win 326 to have the majority. The party won 306, so 20 seats short. But is the Cameroon's responsibility or individuals who ran those districts? Whose responsibility, Mr. Jian? What do you think? In other words, it's the responsibility of the hen or the chick? 是母鸡的问题还是小鸡的问题？母鸡啊。Okay, so that's okay. That's most of the British agree. But you said, I'm a good leader of the Conservative Party, but I'm sorry, some of this individual might not be good. But at least that's how people think. He is responsible. So, didn't get outright means, majority. As an indictment, what is indictment, Mr. Jian? You have been indicted. What does that mean? In legal term, what do we mean by indictment? You have been charged with certain crimes. Okay, indicted, 遭起诉, or certain crime. So indictment means like this is how, of your campaign strategy. Means you didn't have a good campaign. That's the result. Okay, so you are responsible for this. This is how. If you did right, then we should win the majority. But you didn't do it. So your strategy was wrong. And your leadership style, everybody talk about leadership style. And then, your closest aides. A lot of people say, well, I have no problem with certain people, but I don't like those people surrounding him. 有听过吗？要清君侧。So that's, and they are prepared to say so in the public in the coming days. So here, any substantial concession. What is concession? Like my wife made a concession before. First she would say, oh, you have to marry, tell my kids, right? You have to marry someone from Taiwan. You have to marry, an Asian American. And finally, my wife just said, we're going to make sure you're going to marry a woman. Okay. So that's the concession. Dropping down the demand. Okay. So what is it? 让步. This is what I heard. I just heard from my friend the other day. Say, oh, congratulations, your son going to get married. Oh, thank God, at least, we don't have a lot of, expectation as long as, my son is not going to marry, a man. So, but that's conceding, 让步, so he is going to give to liberal, will right people, means anger those conservative even more. Oh, flirtation. What do you mean by flirtation, Mr. Jian? People say Tsai Ing-wen is very good at this. What is flirtation? 放电。中文应该怎么翻译？眉来眼去应该这样子翻译，眉来眼。So means vague, means not really serious. Flirtation say, oh yeah, we might change the electoral system. Okay, that with electoral system tinkering. Tinkering means to mess up. Okay, to touch, to deal, to look into this electoral system. The Liberal Democrats want it, but the conservative didn't like it to change that. So if he say, talking to Liberal Democrats, we'll take it into consideration, and that will already upset those people, already being cursed in a party, right? The conservatives said, no, we will not do that. Okay, it's almost like if in the future our Democratic Progressive Party, okay, try to join the government, and one of the things is saying, we will support, maybe future integration with China. Do you think the Democratic Progressive Party supporters in Taiwan will agree to that? No. Okay, so that's, dead set on something. What is dead set means? I'm so determined against that one. Okay, against any that sniff. Sniff means like you can almost like smell a little bit of that. But I don't understand why we have a Democratic Progressive Party when the president in 2001 used the word 统合. It's talk about integration. Integration is 整合, right? But why they use that word? So sniff is almost like you sniff something, you smell a little bit of that, you feel bad. So they could shut their party out of government indefinitely. They don't like, this proportional representation. Okay? They want single-member district. The notion Liberal Democrat ministerial position. Oh, earmark. What do you mean by earmark? Usually we talk about earmark using the word for budget. Budget set for certain project. We say earmark. Okay. For example, how many of you have belong to the student club here? 有没有同学是参加学校社团有吗？都没有。有啊，有社团。社团你们用钱有没有规定哪些钱要用在哪里？报账的时候，学校会计师会讲话的。Yeah. Okay. So, for example, I received National Science Council, right, grant for going to Africa to do certain research. They gave me very big money for airline ticket, which I probably can spend, I try my best. I find like the fare, which is about 40% or half the price. But then they gave me the daily allowance, which is not enough. Okay, I don't know why they think Africa is poor, so they gave me, this, very low allowance, including like, meals and hotel, which is the amount they gave me is only about 40% of the cost of a hotel. Okay, so I cannot. But can I move the money from my saving of airline to do this? No. So that's what we call earmark. Certain things being set aside for certain purpose. So certain positions, for example, conservatives, I don't think they will give the economic ministries, okay, to the liberal Democrats. Conservative, that's their baby, you know. But if you have a coalition government, certain ministry you have to be. So earmark for conservative is hugely provocative. What do you mean by provocative? Mr. Jian, what is provocative? Provocative, right now, we have two use, a lot of time being used. One is you suggesting something in a conference, in presenting a paper, you suggest something like a very crazy idea. Like, right now, in order to develop the east coast of Taiwan, I recommend we move our capital from Taipei to Taitung. And people say, wow, I said, well, because, it is safe, and also we have, help to develop the east part, and then, suddenly all the Taipei's house price will drop. Okay, so that's provocative. What does that mean? 今天什么惊悚的不是叫什么？中文应该怎么讲？你说什么？突发奇想，有一点点挑战性的。有点，有点不是挑衅，有点是叫什么？耸动的，或者说是，诱发大家思想，好不好？这样子比较好吧 ？Provocative is like crazy idea, right? Like my greatest contribution right now is asking the university female professor to be promoted if they have 3 kids, automatically 我认为助理教授女性的生3个孩子自动升副教授 Great contribution. I mean, more important than having SCI journal articles, don't you think? Intellectual, intelligent ladies willing to have 3 kids, don't you think automatically should be promoted? That's my provocative thought. Okay, so that's one provocative. Okay, the other one provocative, especially in cross-strait relations, people talk about United States will not help to defend Taiwan if a military confrontation between Taiwan and China is provoked by Taiwan. Okay, for example, if we unilaterally declare, saying, tomorrow we change the flag, and the new country's name is called Republic of Taiwan. And then China invaded Taiwan. United States, sorry, you provoke the attack. Okay, or, we said, I don't think you dare to try. Okay, then people attack. Okay, so that's a big problem. So that's what we call provocative. Okay, so hugely provocative to his own side means, that's such a challenge, you should not do. So why Mr. Cameron might wanted to vote as a minority government means he doesn't have a majority, but hey, sorry, nobody can have a majority. I'm the biggest party in the government, so I'm going to try, and that's how I thought it's going to happen. But you never know, two young, good-looking men see eyes to each other, so they form coalition government. 我没想到他们会看对眼了。Okay, let's take a break. Okay, 苏星鹤. Yeah, next. Ironically. Serenity. Departure. Recession. Ravaged. Okay, so you know Gordon Brown. Who is Gordon Brown? Former Prime Minister. Okay, Mr. Brown's coffee is waiting for you, Mr. Brown. So if he fail, okay, so he will have to endure that it's inevitable fate. What is it? You lost the election. You're not supposed to continue as a party leader, right? So that one, he will be forced out of office. But at least people will remember him saying, "Oh, the economy is so bad, and after 13 years of the same party in power, people are tired of you. Oh, you still managed to come in number 2 instead of losing to the liberal. So you did well." It's like you are in a very bad situation, but you managed to survive. Not so bad. 27% of votes versus 23% for Liberal Democrats. You have more than 200 seats than Liberals 50s. So that's pretty good, okay, in that sense. So a third place finish for Labor will be very bad for Brown. But at least his electoral performance will be remembered as good and as popular in a recession. What is a recession? What is a recession? Economic downturn, we call recession. So what is the difference between recession and depression? Do you know depression? 1930s. Okay, so some of you have my class before. You know the difference, right? The difference is a recession is my neighbor lost his job. Depression is I lost my job. Okay? Recession means you see people around you who might be unemployed. Depression means when you are unemployed, that's a depression. Okay? So that's how you distinguish the two. Ravage means being attacked by recession. And after 13 years, it's difficult. But someone did it. Okay? John Major of the Conservative Party in 1992, after 13 years of conservative government, and everybody thought he's going to lose, he managed to survive for 5 more years, John Major. And he's not even good looking. Okay? So, but at the time, I think his opponent is not good looking. That's the reason he survived. Okay? This time, Gordon Brown, I think, looked old. Between the two young men. So that's the reason he lost. Okay, some of you do not believe voters vote according to the physical appearance of the candidate. They do. Otherwise, why would Ma Ying-jeou win over Frank Scher so many votes? Especially want to make it, investigate all the female votes to see whether there is a discrepancy between the female and the male vote, especially among the dasen and obasang, people, right? When I was a graduate student, we have to do a study on a popular senator from Indiana who won election because of his good look. Okay, so we studied that part. So it happened, I think, and also you have to have a regular name. That's also good. So Gordon Brown is a good name, but he lost. Okay, in America, you need to have Anglo name. We're easier for you. Like Obama, that's a bad name. Barack Hussein, well, that's so Middle Eastern, right? And Obama, people thought Obama is Xiaobing from Japan, but he won the election over, McCain. That's such a good name to win. Okay, in America, we have seen, like in Chicago, John Smith won the election. People don't know who he is, but that's a good name. rather than someone like Rosinski, like a Polish name, right? So, but in Great Britain, at least that's not the case. Okay, next one, Huang Yixiang.
Mr. Cameron is still very likely to be Britain's new Prime Minister, but it could be Monday or even later before we know for certain.
Okay, so it's not on Friday, we know. It's not on Monday. I think it was on Tuesday evening in Great Britain. So Wednesday morning in Taiwan, we heard about this one. Okay, so you ask people, say, you vote for me, making sure I have the mandate, make sure I have enough seats. But obviously he didn't get that, but still good enough. Okay. This is something we have to learn. The American look at this one. Wang Boxuan. Wang Boxuan 有在吗 ？Okay. British election, what it means for the UK and the US. Renfred Sure. Okay, Sophie Bridge. Starting. Okay, so here in Great Britain, we have investment banker. Investment banker in the United States would be someone who work for Wall Street, right? So those people, I don't think they like the government to be so much involved in the economy. They are usually conservative in the United States and will be Republican in the United States, conservative in Great Britain. So those people supposed to be looking at the profession, occupation, supposed to be voting for conservative, right? It's almost like in Taiwan, if you are a mainlander, a military officer, you're supposed to vote for pen blue, but hey, it's not always the case, right? So here, the same thing. Investment banker should be voting for conservative, but she didn't. She self-described. Like, someone will describe himself, like McCann said, I am a maverick. Maverick means doing something different. Okay, so self-described labor rights. I don't know why we have to do this. Labor people is called labor right. Labor right. Grew up in a family with distinct left of center learning. So which means, if you study, we call political socialization. 政治社会化. Okay? Which means your school, your parents, your family will have a great influence on you. So if you're coming from a working class family, your parents always vote for laborers. Even if you graduate and work as an investment banker, you still vote for labor. Okay? So that's why we call political socialization. 政治社会化 means that's how you acquire your political belief. What would be other things? For example, if you are going to a seminary of the Taiwan Presbyterian Church, I think you probably will be more likely to embrace Taiwan independence. 假如你是读长老会，台湾长老会神学院，你支持台独的可能性会比较高一些， right? So that's what we call. But here, so her distinct, very unique left of center learning, Ling is from the family. Okay, the family is that, so that's why she is. Okay. Here, first Han Parliament. Again, we're going back to Han Parliament. Mr. Huang, what is Han Parliament? The Parliament being Han there. Well, it's not I don't think we are talking about not functioning. But why is it not functioning? No party has majority. That's what we call Han. Okay? And this is so true in a lot of, like Italy. Nobody ever has majority. But Italy is accustomed to what? Coalition. Okay? Great Britain is not. So the first Han Parliament in 36 years. And more importantly, worst economy. The last time they had Han Parliament in the 1970s, minority government. The last time the Great Britain has coalition government is during World War II. Oh, so now they have one. What's the inference here? Means Great Britain is in war, fighting against recession. Right? It's so bad. I mean, only in war during World War II they have, or World War I they have coalition government. Means, oh, let's have unity, right? We have a big enemy, Germany. So we have to unite together. And now we have a big enemy, Greece. No, not Greece. Economic recession. Okay, so that's why they have to unite. Okay. Okay, next one, 翁颖之. 有在吗？翁颖之？丹主任。Yet
last week she wasn't casting her ballot for the Labour Party either. Instead, Ms. Bridge was committed to the third party alternative, the Liberal Democrat.
Okay, continue.
David White, a fruit and vegetable vendor in a working class neighborhood, would seem to be a natural supporter for the Labour Party. He was. He went for conservatives, pining for the low days of Margaret Thatcher's.
Margaret Thatcher's.
Margaret Thatcher's austerity policies.
Okay, so here, Sophie Bridge didn't vote for Labour this time. She was committed to third party alternative Liberal Democrat. So Liberal Democrat always said, well, if you don't like the Conservative, we're here. If you don't like the Labour, we're here. So she got that. But then look at David White, fruit and vegetable vendor. I'm sorry, you are from the working class. You're not, from the upper class. Why are you voting for Conservative? But he did vote for Conservative. Why? He would seem to be a natural supporter, Dan Zuwen, for Labour Party, but he wasn't. He went for the Conservative Party. The reason here, pining. What is pining?
Pining just
like pine trees, right? What is pine trees doing? 松树. 种松树吗? Planting the pines. What is pining? Pining is like yearning or looking for. Pining is craving, just like craving. Okay, craving for ice cream, I mentioned before the break. Pining, also craving, wanting what? Wanting for the tough love. Hey, Margaret Thatcher was a conservative, right? Tough love, saying, hey, we want to help you, but, God only helps those who help themselves. So, tough love days of Margaret Thatcher. Austerity. What is austerity? This is an important word. Austerity. In Taiwan, I'm sorry, we don't have any austerity program at all. Right? What is austerity? Austerity means, first of all, your professor is not a good example. I think 勒紧裤带. Okay, but this is already my last hole. How can I do it? I cannot. Okay, I need to drill another hole. Okay, so with austerity means government will say, hey, I'm sorry, we have budget problem. We have to stop giving you all this, money for new baby. Right? We don't have enough baby, so the government said, the Penguin Party will say, I'll give you $3,000 a month. The Pen Blue said, no, 5. The Penguin said, no, 6. I mean, it's not your money, so they just give money. That's not austerity. What's the other one that is not austerity? Like people say, oh, we need to raise money for health insurance. Oh, people say, no, that's not right. Why don't we cut health insurance care? So people say, how many people willing to pay less for their tax? I think I am one, right? People said the college student, before they pay tax, they are supporters of the liberals, of the Democrats. Say, more tax. Yeah, we need to help the poor people. And then once they begin to work, saying, I have to pay this much. Oh, support Republican, support the conservative, right? So that's the problem. Tough love, okay, working class. And some of the working class, especially, will support conservative. Why? They said, I work very hard. But some people don't have to work very hard, and then they can have, all the welfare. Recently, I think, how many people, I think it's in a Scandinavian country, which one, show you their prison is like a, 5-star hotel. Norway or Sweden? Australia? Which country? There is a country somewhere. Great Britain?
Those criminals inside the prison can play something in the stock market. I think
Sweden, right? The 5-star hotel type. Now, if I'm working very hard in Sweden, I said, why don't I just commit a crime, right, and get the street? So some working class people, if they have we call work ethics, they don't like the welfare a lot. They feel people are cheating. People are becoming lazy. So that's possible, even though the Democratic Party or the Labor Party in the United States and in Great Britain are more supportive of your cause. We'll try to protect labor. But in terms of ethics, work ethics, you like the tough love of Margaret Thatcher. Two different cases. 郭俊义, yeah. The two voters. Epitomized. Okay, so these two voters symbolize how unsettled. What does that mean, unsettled? Means like a quicksand floating everywhere. So it's not settled. Great British policy. People don't know. Very much like the policy. And why the nation whose empire once bestrode globe is now facing the what do we call Great Britain? Used to be what? An empire that the sun never sets. 日不落国. right? Because they, look at every time zone, they have one colony. So from Australia all the way, right, to India, to the Middle East, to Africa, to Caribbeans, they all have colonies everywhere. So, but now, they are, striding the global, now facing the gravest challenge since World War II. And then Great Britain, also like other parts of Europe, struggling against what? To navigate the worst economic crisis. Okay. Now, have you ever tried to navigate a crisis before? What do we mean by navigate a crisis? Huh? Mr. Guo, what is navigate? You understand navigator? Navigation? It's like a Titanic, 铁达尼号, facing the iceberg, and you have to somehow steer clear of trouble, we call. Navigate, steer, clear. That I thought, when I was a little kid, my father told me, you try to be someone who lead the ship into the harbor. That's the job that paid the most. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we call almost like navigating out of trouble. Okay. So that's how the British is so bad. Epitomize. What do you mean by epitomize? Mr. Guo, what is epitomize? Symbolize. Okay. Now, we always doing something like, can we find someone that epitomize Taiwan's people's generosity? Oh, Chen Shuju, thank you. Epitomize, right? Do you know who she is? She is selling vegetables in Taitung, but she donated 10 million Taiwanese dollar. Just you heard about this lady? Okay, so she epitomized the bright side of Taiwan, the positive side of Taiwan, in contrast to our ex-president in jail. Oh, okay, so that's epitomized, all right? So also, if we talk about physical fitness in Taiwan, who should be the spokesperson for physical fitness? Mr. Guo, what do you think? Who can epitomize physical fitness in Taiwan? Right? Mrs. Obama is trying to help kids to eat properly. So don't go overweight. I think our First Lady can also represent some kind of physical fitness. Our president is not very good. He cannot resist temptation from Hong Doubing. Okay? So that's not very good. So epitomize, who will be someone epitomize Tsinghua great tradition here? 你们学校哪个教授是最能够代表清华的？清华有什么精神没有？什么？我们政大的精神叫亲爱精神，你们清华叫什么？自强不息啊！真的叫自强不息啊！政大是党校 ，OK？ 清华是什么？校训什么？厚德载物。OK， 谁 epitomize 厚德载物 ？Very difficult, huh? Okay, I think NTU, always represents some kind of Taiwan's freedom of speech, political thing. So there are people who can epitomize the spirit of national Taiwan. So that's epitomized, represented or symbolized. But here is epitomized is like, why you're so bad, your economy, the debt problem, ricocheting. What is ricocheting? This is, I was involved in a criminal case that has this ricocheting problem. What is ricochet? Huh? Mr. Guo, do you know ricochet? For example, you want to shoot your ex-girlfriend, right? But somehow the bullet ricocheted. 中文叫什么？啊？不是，偏离弹道。Okay. But here, it's the debt problem is like shooting. Out of control. Okay. Ricochet. 好，中文叫什么？就是偏离弹道。流弹。OK， 被流弹打伤。OK。这到处乱窜了，这个流弹。Debt problem. Okay. Next one. 张宇全。Fragile government. Chaotic. A hinge. Opponents. Majority. Okay, so here you have to do a potentially means possibly very fragile. So we have to think Clay and Cameroon. I think the government is not that fragile. At least, they have very comfortable majority. But here, this is a result of chaotic. Because the conservative, you're looking good, but why you're not looking that good? You're looking okay, but you should be looking better. Right? So it didn't get a majority. So no party controlled the parliament. And then a hinge moment. What is a hinge? Ms. Zhang, what is a hinge? A hinge is something on what? Yeah, on the door, right? Open. 中文叫什么？门？不是门，那个叫什么？链是吧？这个叫什么？门的铰链啊，不是这个叫什么 ？What is this? This little thing. 这么差，你们中文比我还差。What is it? 书。这是枢密院的书，是不是？就这个书。Okay, so hinge moment means swing. Okay, ruling party suffer worse result in decade, but somehow the resurgent. What is a resurgent? Ms. Zhang. Okay, means someone coming back. Okay, so should we say right now our DPP is also a resurging party? Yes? Yeah. Do you know DPP? Okay, is it resurging or not? What do you think? Maybe. That's not a good answer, maybe. Okay, so you can say, well, let's wait until the end of this year, right? We have the 5 elections of the mayors. Okay, here also said political landscape is shifting and the consequences beyond the formation. So who knows? Because the Labour Party also claimed that the new Labour is dead, is gone. Okay, New Labour under Blair and Brown, gone. And the Conservatives said we are the new Conservative. Okay, so let's look at that. 林洛凡 fundamental surmount deficit. Eclipse. Okay, fundamental, we understand that, but in religion, we call fundamentalists or political fundamentalists. In Taiwan, what do we call them, Ms. Lin? People who held value very deeply. 基本教义派. Okay, so, but fundamental political reform means, very thorough one. Complicate the nation's ability to surmount a budget deficit. You understand budget deficit, right? What is a budget deficit? You understand budget? Deficit? What is deficit? Deficit means something in red. Oh, 红衫军. Right? What is something in red? What does that mean? Something in black, something in red. 黑字, 红字, 什么意思? Okay, so your spending is bigger than your earning. Okay, so that's what we call budget deficit. So you have a budget deficit, that the nation's ability to surmount, to control this one, and that deficit is big. Okay, in Taiwan, some people say we also have a deficit right now. Do we have a deficit? Maybe we call a moral deficit. 我们有这种道德赤字吗? Or what kind of deficit do we have? Yeah, maybe. Okay, reproductive deficit. But here, this deficit is so big, eclipse. What is eclipse, Ms. Lin? Oh, the eclipse of the moon. What is it? 月食. Now, what does that mean? Great Britain will have an eclipse. 因为预算有赤字，所以月亮都缺口了。这样子吗? What does that mean, eclipse? Eclipse the Greek next year means the Greek's deficit. Greek's deficit is very bad, about 11 or 12% of its budget, and Great Britain is going to have 13%. So bigger than that. It's what do we mean by eclipse? Eclipse is almost like, remember we have eclipse. What happened? The moon gradually moved and covering the sun, right? So the sun has been eaten, being surpassed. Okay, cover. So eclipse is like passing, surpass. Okay, more than the Greeks. Could affect how aggressive a role Great Britain can play on the world stage. Now, Ms. Lin, if you have domestic problem like budget deficit, recession, don't you think they have a lesser voice in the world stage? And, whenever you want to say something, people say, hey, get your household in order. Right? 你把家里头先整顿好，再来批评我们，再来讲话。Right? Would I do that? But I don't think that affect America. Right? America had trouble for 2 years, still number one. Did they humble America? Say, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, I think Obama said a lot of sorry. He just hired the Korean group to sing sorry, sorry. But no, American didn't like it. Americans said, why Obama always apologize? He went to China, apologized, went to Japan, apologized, went to Russia, apologized. Okay? But America is in trouble, so Great Britain, if it's also in trouble, then I'm sorry, you're not a major player. People will say, oh, you're here. It's almost like, playing tennis or playing golf. You are being allowed to play because of your past achievement. 有没有听过？去什么那种好像过去的冠军还可以不需要会外赛，可以直接打。这中文叫什么？打中不就是他们也不连种子都没有资格了，但是说给他一个门票让他进来。对，发一个额外的那个位置。Yeah. Okay. So for example, let's say Tiger Woods, okay, dropping, okay, not doing very well because he cannot concentrate now. But because of his past achievement, like master 名人赛, they said, well, we have to have him here. So even though he didn't make the cut in the last 5 tournament, 就是中文叫什么 ？Making the cut， 就是第2天打完，那个高于标准杆太多，所以不能打第3、第4天。中文叫什么？你们知道高尔夫有这个规定吗？就是前2天，如果说高尔夫打4天，72洞，对不对？那前2天，如果你那个杆超过 above the par for 2。就是只有一半的人怎么样 ？Making the cut， 中文叫什么东西？就是再有继续打第二下半场好了，下半。Okay, so Tiger, if he fail, one of his record is making the cut in so many tournaments consecutively， 就连续几次都过关，过前面2天的关。就 you have to do well. For example, let's say we have 100 players. Okay, so we will allow you to have 100 players for the first 2 days. And then after the first 2 days, those who didn't do well, let's say cut it to 50. So only the other half will play the final 2 days. That's golf. Tennis, maybe, you are unseeded, but other people have to play from, qualifying rounds. And because you won here before, and then you don't have to. Let's say Peace Empress somehow come back to play. Or Andre Agassi wanted to play. You said, oh, why don't you start from the qualifying round? No, probably you gave a special permit, right? So that's what I think Great Britain in the future might not be able to sit on the international negotiation table because you have been weakened. Okay, so that's, I think, aggressive role you play. People will say, put your own house in order. 小乃心 In one way. Okay, so Myria means almost like a strange combination of party from the very left to the very right. Hey, that's very agreeable to your professor. Your professor always vote for the smallest, the strangest political party or individual. Okay, because Like in Taipei's mayoral election, last time, I voted for Zhou Yukou. Because I'm betting with other friends. I said, I'm going to vote for someone who will get the least vote. 我们来比赛看谁支持的人得票最少。So I won. You know, she even had less vote than 那个柯世海。Okay? Because when you vote for the least electable person, you're not going to get hurt. Huh? You're not responsible, right? For example, you know, I used to have bumper sticker on my car say, "Don't blame Yan, he didn't vote for Chen." Okay? Or don't blame me, I didn't vote for Li. Okay? So I can put some of the bumper stick. Right now, you know, I don't have, Hao Rongbing problem? No problem. I didn't vote for him, right? Frank Xie was running. If he won, then I have to be responsible. So I don't want to vote for anyone who is going to win the election, who can win who has the possibility to win. You vote for someone who is never going to win the election, you feel good. You're not responsible. Okay? Because otherwise you say, what? I voted for Ma? 他妈? Huh? What? I voted for Ma? Right? So that's why. Okay, that's my philosophy. I mean, you know, just try to protect you from getting hurt. But someone might have a different view. Okay, we will finish this one next time.